I think it really started with me feeling stuck in a number of ways in my life and disconnected between who I was with friends and family, my personality there versus my career persona that I had built and very much partitioned. And I think there was a conversation that I had with you before we started working together where you opened my eyes to the point of value misalignment and why I was feeling so much friction between those two places was that my values, or I wasn't perceiving my values to be aligned with how I was spending my time and in my career, especially. And so I think yeah, it definitely stemmed from me feeling stuck, a moment of frustration, and not knowing really what to do next to solve for that. There was just a resentment built up, continuing to do the thing day to day to day.
I'm trying to picture you acting out.
And or like coping behaviors of making lists of
Mhm.
like silly frivolous things, like
Yeah.
making lists and living in a list versus living.
Yeah.
That's where I go to cope. And I think it's a form of numbing in the same way that it is to put an episode of The Housewives on or Love is Blind, right? It's let me just zone out and numb out and leave, which is fun for a little bit to escape, but it's not solving the problem that
Yeah.
that is lasting.
What are you noticing now?
Yeah, the shifts are it's interesting because I'm noticing them more day to day. It started with more awareness in the moment, like reflecting in the moments day to day. I was doing a lot more of that in the same framework of the qualities that we were working through. So I think that started. And then I started getting closer and closer to in the moment realizations versus, yeah, more awareness in the moment. I think it resulted in me noticing that I was carrying myself differently or presenting myself differently or going in with perhaps a bit more confidence into a room with a better understanding of my own values and why I was there and what I was really seeking. I think that helped me go in with a lot more confidence to conversations and interact with the world around me. I think I'm just more honest and confident to speak my mind from the top, less poring over details and listening before I respond or feeling like I needed to back what I was saying up, right? Less spinning and pre-spinning work that I used to do. And honestly, what it has cleared the path for is more the capacity to be present, more presence of mind, more space to be curious, to be asking more pointed questions. So, in a sense, it's actually positioning me more as a more confident leader, right? Or thought leader in the room than previously, I think, because it's opened up space for me to be curious and do my best work from a creative standpoint, like creatively solve problems. So that's been fun to see now, I think for me. I need to feel like I'm being authentically me and my creative problem solving. Like I need to feel like I'm creating trust and also giving trust to my colleagues and peers. And I think presence has that like clarity again that I've created, that presence has helped me clear the path a lot quicker, maybe accomplish things that would have taken me longer or I would have like fixated on or ruminated about over. And again, that's the anxiety based off of my previous experiences. And now I'm reframing that in a go forward
Yeah.
mentality. Yeah.
Which I love because you said three words in here, which were actually all the qualities that we were working on
Yeah,
together.
those are the qualities.
Being
Yeah.
authentic, present, and knowing you trust yourself.
And I just didn't know that was a possibility to connect the two into my career work, my day to day. I think for me, it was the exercises that we went through to understand in certain scenarios why I was feeling the way that I was feeling and how I was either set up for success or using my resources that I didn't know or realize I could tap into through the partition in many ways. to pull from.
Yeah.
I think it was breaking that partition down, honestly, and in my mind, and thinking about how I unlock the resources that I've created for myself and have learned over time in my life to feel less stuck or not set up for success, and really look at especially those tough memories or tough circumstances, tough stories that come to mind first, and reframe around, like, literally, what if I did have those missing elements or resources? What would that look like? And I think it gave me a little bit of a freedom to forgive myself in a lot of ways and let that go that I once perceived as a failure on
Mm.
my own behalf that may not have been in my control.
Yeah. I love that. Are there any like
Yeah.
really specific examples where you're like, oh wow, I really did notice that shift in that
Mm,
moment? Uh,
one-on-one with my boss, and a way that I probably would have done things a lot differently or been more conservative, and then followed up after I'd done all the work. I just had more of confidence in a conversation. And
mm,
I think we were able to move forward faster on a potential strategy, just having more confidence and asking some common sense questions and framing it in a polite way that was authentic to myself. But I think being more direct has
mm,
been nice, but knowing that I can be direct and it not be misconstrued or,
mm,
misplaced in that environment is important.
mm.
Mhm.
Anything in general you'd like to add, Lindsay, about our work together, what you're learning about yourself and or this type of work in general, which is not common. It's not a common type of coaching method. So anything in general.
I just think it's a wonderful part of an overall growth-minded opportunity. Like, I've explored and yes-anded a lot over the last couple of years. I've continued investing in myself as far as like therapy is concerned, and then it's like going to the gym that way. I really believe in that. But it's really a 360 view of a healthy person and how I'm utilizing my resources to their fullest extent. And yeah, in a way, I feel like I've been through a training, like a physical training exercise where I'm putting these to work for the
Mm,
first time for myself and my own benefit. So I like it as a part of that whole pie.
yeah.
And it was something that I didn't even know existed. So it's been pretty neat to not only discover, but do and really see the value of it. The practicality of it and the immediacy of the practicality of it surprised me as well.
Mm. Can you tell me
Right.
about a little bit about that, the immediacy of the practicality?
It was just like the awareness was there, day one after we had tackled our first quality. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, like it was immediately reframed, and then you're immediately going back into the world, the day to day in relationships and from a professional standpoint. Like, I noticed that right away. Versus therapies are all different sizes and flavors depending on the need. It was more immediate. And that was
And
also surprising. Yeah.
I'm really glad you mentioned that because I think you see immediate shifts right
Mm,
away in a way that I don't always notice in other practices because you were doing this work um, inside that it just like bleeds outward. It's really organic inside that
yep.
sometimes we can miss those little shifts and changes and going, oh wow, I reacted differently to that. Oh wow,
Right.
I said that completely different than I would have in the past. Oh, I'm
Right.
doing this behavior now that I didn't do before.
Right.
And it can be that immediate when you do this work. And I'm glad you brought that up because I
Yep.
think
Yeah.
we can miss that easily because it seems so natural, organic. We thought we've been doing it the whole entire time, but
Yep.
we weren't. But this type
Yeah.
of work makes it feel like it just naturally occurred on its own in some ways.
Yeah. That's been very pleasant.
Well, Lindsay, I appreciate the chat.
No, appreciate you. Thank you for everything, Lonnie. This has been really eye-opening in a great way.